So, good day everyone. Today we are going to report the determine the procedures of ECDIS display information, safety tips, and overlay. So, again, I am the Cadet CARSIDO CARLON. So, first is ECDIS demonstration procedures of activating ECDIS display information, safety tip, and overlay. So in this part, head over to task list. So this part, you can see all the information about how to use and how it works or function, and you can see the specific way on how to use it accordingly. So in this page, select charts. In ECDIS, the charts are called INCs or cells, and the chart number of cells number. In paper chart, we receive charts. In ECDIS, we receive cell permit. It's important to note that there is no correlation between chart number and cell number.
Then I will discussing the base, standard, and the custom. So first, the base. The display base is permanently retained on the ECDIS display, consisting of number 1, coastline or the high water. Number 2, on ship's safe contour to be selected by the mariner. Number 3, indication of isolated underwater danger at depth of less than the safety contour, which lie within the safe waters defined by the safety contour. Then number 4 is indication of isolated danger which lies within the safe water defined by safe contour, such as bridge, overhead wires, and etc., including the buoys and beacons, whether or not these are being used as aid to navigation. Then number 5 is traffic routine system. Then number 6 is the scale, range, orientation, and display mode. Then the last is unit of depth and height. So the standard display to be displayed when the chart is first displayed by ECDIS, consisting of number 1, display base, number 2, drying line, number 3, indication of fixed and floating edge to navigation. Then number 4 is boundaries of fairways, channel, and etc. Then number 5 is visual and radar conspicuous features. Then number 6 is prohibited and restricted areas. Then number 7 is chart scale boundaries. Then last is the indication of cautionary notes. So the custom. So the display custom is, you can see the spot sounding to isolated danger, cable and pipes, names and other information. Also the depth contours, the seabed and the buoy's name, and the scale bar, and the guidelines and chart boundaries, also the nav text.
So hi sir, I'm the cadet Stephen F. Cayme, and today I'm gonna discuss for the continuation, so custom. So this is a view of our ECDIS, and then next is for all other information. So all other information displayed individually on demand. For example, number 1 is spot surroundings, submarine cables and pipelines, ferry routes, details of all isolated dangers, details of aids to navigation, contents of cautionary notes, ENC edition date, geodetic datum, magnetic variation, graticule, and place names. So navigating ECDIS safely domain. So here, first step is to head over to the task list. Number 2 is select monitoring tab. Below is the monitoring tab. So next is
So the next for navigating ECDIS safety domain. So the ECDIS safety frame is a feature that offers forewarning of danger, primarily intended to prevent grounding, but this feature was switched off. Appropriate safety settings are of paramount importance for ECDIS display. These settings control how the ECDIS presents deep information and make it easier to visualize areas of water that are safe for the vessel to navigate. And next is safety contour. So the safety contour is the most important parameter of all the safety settings for display of unsafe water areas. Detecting isolated dangers and triggering anti-grounding alarms, the safety contour is basically an outline which marks the division between safe and unsafe waters. And next is the color blue is used to indicate the unsafe areas, while white or gray for safe areas. The default safety contour, if not specified by the mariner, is set to 30 m. The blue color in a traditional paper chart does not provide a vivid picture of shallow water. Example, the depths mentioned in the blue part of paper chart may be shallower for a deep draft vessel, while safe for a vessel with a smaller draft. Unlike paper charts, this allows the officer to set safety parameters according to the ship's static or dynamic particulars. The safety contour can be calculated as follows. Safety contour equals ship draft plus squat plus UKC minus height of tide. Contours are present in the values of 5, 10, 15, 20, and 30, and so on. If the value set by the mariner is not available among the available depth contours, ECDIS selects the next deepest available contour in the ANC. So next is water safe for navigation. White is for deep contour. Gray and white for safety contour or ECDIS input. Light blue is safety depth. And the last is dark blue, which is the shallow contour or the chart 0.
Safety depth setting. The sole purpose of the safety depth is to portray spot soundings either in gray for deeper depths or black for shallower depths compared to the safety depth value entered by the navigating officer, thereby highlighting the potentially safe and unsafe areas. The ECDIS safety depth is normally the ship draft plus squat. Now, the question is, why do we need to mention safety depth when safety contour can demarcate between safe and unsafe waters? It is also logically to select safety depth equal to safety contour. Second, some soundings on the shoulder side of the safety contour will be gray because they are deeper than the safety depth set by the mariner, although shallower than the safety contour selected by ECDIS. The depths below safety contour may not always be non-navigable. Suppose, for example, if safety depth and safety contour are set to 11 m. The ECDIS will emphasize the depth contour equal or deeper than the selected contour, which say is 20 meters, whichever is available in the ENC. Thus, we can see that water areas with depths between 11 meters to 20 meters are navigable but are below the safety contour. This provides the mariner with additional information about where the ship could most safely pass if crossing the safety contour is required. Because this could provide additional maneuvering room in a narrow passages where safety depths exist.
So, good day, sir. I will be continuing the discussion. So, um, slide 16 shows us the shallow water contour on ECDIS. And we can see the explanation of slide 16 in slide 15, where it says that the shallow contour highlight the gradient of the seabed is considered to be the grounding depth. So if the depth of the ship is um, considered, then the value can be set equal to be the same with the draft of the ship. So if the ship's draft is 7.7 m, the shallow contour can be set at 8 meters. So this is the example where the seabed is can be seen. So we also have a different kind of other contours. There is the deep water contour setting. So this is normally set to twice the ship's draft. However, navigating officers can use um, deep water contour value the way they want. So it is twice the ship's draft. So if the draft of the ship is 8, so 8 times 2, the deep water contour setting would mean that it is set at 16 meters. So next is um, Admiralty Information Overlay, which will be discussed by um, another reporter.
Admiralty Information Overlay. The AIO is a worldwide digital dataset that is designed to be displayed over ENCs in ECDIS and other chart display systems to provide additional information during passage planning. The AIO is refreshed every week as part of the AVCS weekly update and is issued on disk and by download. The weekly disk contains the base edition and all the updates to date, so you only need to load the most recent disk on board. A new edition is issued approximately every 2 years after 90 weekly updates. For the functions, managing temporary information with AIO, TNP, NMS. The UKHO issues a weekly bulletin of temporary and preliminary notices to mariners, TNP NMS, which contains the temporary information of navigational interest to mariners using Admiralty paper charts. Mariners are only required to hold notices to mariners for paper charts that are on board, like UKHO. Hydrographic offices around the world issues notices to mariners to update their paper charts. Some countries do not issue TNP NMS and some do not update their ENCs with temporary information EPNMS. ENC preliminary or EP NMS highlight navigationally significant differences between ENCs and Admiralty paper charts. These NMS are displayed in the same way as TNP NMS, as a polygon with a hatch fill which indicates the area affected by the NM. Each NM is allocated a unique EPNM number and is exclusive to AIO.
No overlay feature. When there is no Admiralty paper chart at equivalent scale to the ENC or electronic navigational chart, UKHO is not able to compare coverage and add additional information. In these areas, the AIO shows a gray hatch polygon labeled No Overlay. Passage planning using AIO. SOLAS Chapter 5 states that all information relevant to the passage should be considered during planning. Appropriate scale, accurate, and up-to-date charts are to be used for intended passage, as well as any relevant temporary notices to mariners. Policy of ENC producers. Most producers now include temporary information in their ENCs, and it is received on your vessel as a normal ENC update or new edition. This means that you can see the change in the ECDIS and use the peak report to obtain more information in the normal way. The ECDIS route assessment tools will automatically assess the temporary information because it appears as standard ENC objects. Your passage plan should be compiled as normal using what you see displayed in your ECDIS along with the peak reports. Some producers do not describe the information as temporary or preliminary in their ENCs. They simply issued updates as required. In 2017 version 4.0 of this S52, presentation library introduced a D symbol for temporary information. The symbol is displayed when the ENC producer codes a feature with time-based attributes such as start or end date. It can be used for seasonal buoys, traffic separation schemes, and etc. Date-dependent feature displays according to the date set on your ECDIS. Therefore, it is advisable to plan your route with the ECDIS set to the dates of the intended passage.
Next, you should have AIO active on your ECDIS screen during the passage plan. Next, using the ENCs and route checking in the normal way, noting any features that are described in the peak report as being temporary. Check your route with the ECDIS date set to the planned passage time. You may see colored polygons that are associated with the Admiralty paper TNP NMS issued by the UKHO. Next is the TNP NMS will be giving you additional information that is not already included in your ENC. You should then open the text of the notice using the ECDIS report to assess and include the information in your passage plan as necessary. Admiralty paper and or Admiralty paper T and P NMS are not issued as corrections to electronic charts. Audit and compliance inspections require you to demonstrate that you are working with the latest ENC updates for your passage plan. You are also required to demonstrate that you have a system in place to reasonably obtain and assess temporary information. Temporary information for digital navigation can be obtained from the following, which are the first, the information encoded in the ENC. Second, extra information in AIO that may be not included in ENCs where there is equivalent coverage by Admiralty paper charts. Third, other sources on board such as NavText. Four, local authorities such as agents or port authorities where the information is included in the ENC. You do not need to assess paper chart notices as part of the passage plan unless you are navigating with paper charts. So here is the uh, this. So one, go to Navisailor, then click Overlays tab and AIO Charts tab. So second, click Show AIO to display AIO overlay. Third, click on the AIO layer control to filter the AIO objects information.
Good day, sir. Good day, everyone. I am the Cadet HABONITA Danilo Jr. and I'm going to discuss on how to view AIO data or Admiralty information overlay. So there are procedures in viewing the AIO data. So first is click the eye icon at toolbar to view the electronic navigational chart, peak report, or ENC. So you will see the eye on the right portion lower below, and second is click on the displayed AIO or Admiralty information overlay polygon box and peak report window will appear. So as you can see, this is the step 2, and third is area on ink where UKHO has published preliminary notice to mariners area, and fourth is click highlight to identify the AIO area. So on the AIO area on ENC where UKHO has published a preliminary notice to mariners area 4. And lastly, the step 5 is at the info tab, view AIO or Admiralty information overlay information such as ENC affected supporting textual information and attached text or picture file reference. Click on the file to view the information in details. So that's all, and thank you.